Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. It's Chris Petri. Welcome to another great watercolor video here. We're just actually getting excited. We're trying something a little bit new, but not too much off of the regular processes, methods, and techniques that we use on my channel here on an ongoing basis. So no worries. Let's just make a conscious effort here to realize that everyone out there, there's thousands of us out here. We're all on this channel. We're working together. We're creating our paintings. We're drawing. We're practicing. If you're new and you're an extreme beginner, you're practicing your drawing skills and you're getting those up to speed. And at the same time, you're also painting. And there's no reason why you can't try doing paintings that we're doing at a higher level here. So right now we're doing more of a intermediate to professional level painting, but you can try it. You can go for it. Go for the gusto. Have fun with it. And the main thing here is we're going to actually try a couple new brushes. So in this painting, we're going to try new brushes, just 2 new brushes, and that's all we're going to use. So here in this painting, we're going to try a new filbert brush, and as well, we're going to try a sword liner brush. So these 2 brushes, the sword liner brush and the filbert brush, are fantastic brushes that you can use to take your paintings to a whole new level. Some of you might be painting with round brushes and you're saying, Chris, I'm just getting tired of it, the round brushes. I need a change with my watercolors, my paintings. Well, this is a great time to do it. Hey, grab yourself a couple new brushes and say to yourself, hey, the next 6 months I'm just going to paint, or the next year I'm just going to use 2 new brushes. I'm going to use a sword liner brush and a filbert brush. And these are actually natural hair brushes. Actually, this is a Pro Art synthetic sword liner. And this is a Rosemary & Company 1-inch filbert brush here that I'm using, which are great filbert brushes. And this is natural hair. This is sable hair for your sable brush on this one here to the right. And then to the left is your sword liner by Pro Art. And it's synthetic, and they come in different sizes. I have another size here. It's a little larger, like that. So you can kind of see the 3 different brushes. But basically two brushes, a sword liner brush or a dagger brush. They call it a dagger brush. And this is your filbert brush. They also call it a cat's tongue brush. So we're going to have a great time doing this painting. And please feel free to just stop the video here and paint right from this and draw right from this painting. So you can draw and paint right from this scene right now if you hit pause, or you could do a screen capture, or you can take a picture of it with your camera and then print it out on your printer at home. You take care of your own electronic devices and figure out how you're going to do it. But we're going to, in any case, we're going to move right along here. We'll get started. We'll do the sketch first, the pencil sketch, and then we'll get into the painting of this. And you'll see how easy it is. It's really a fun painting, nothing too complicated. Once you get it drawn in with your pencil sketch, the rest goes real simple. And it's real, the colors, will show you all the colors you need on our palette. We're going to cover every single color you need to create this painting. And trust me, it's not difficult. It's just a matter of a few different colors you need. And you'll get this one beautifully rendered. You'll have an exciting time. You'll have yourself a finished painting. You can frame it, sign it, frame it, have a great time with it, put it up on the wall, or even give it as a gift, or even put it into a show. Hey, maybe there's a show in your area where you live, and you want to take a painting like this and put it into a show. Do it. As long as you realize that you can change your technique a little bit with your brushes. You can try a few new brushes, and you might find that you'll be able to really render some interesting and really exciting watercolor paintings with that few new brushes that you might have. So I always found it exciting to try new brushes, to take my techniques to another level, and I'm hoping you're going to do the same thing here. Don't be worried about it. When you can, you get a couple new brushes and you try them out, and you'll see that you can create some beautiful artwork with a couple new brushes in your regiment. And also too, here we're using just the simple Arches watercolor paper, rough paper. Arches rough watercolor paper here for this painting, just so you have that in mind too. It's a huge help to have really, really high quality paper to do your finished paintings. So if it's a finished painting, then you want to use the best paper you can that's in your budget, within your budget, and that's about it. So we'll get started in just a second. All right, hey, you just saw the finished painting. Join along with us here. We're having a great time. We're going to start creating our painting here. This is going to be a wonderful, beautiful streetscape style painting. It's going to be like some bed and breakfasts, and this is actually in England. This is an English type painting, and I'm using some different pictures from books and some internet pictures to kind of make a painting of it. But I can't show those paintings. I hope you'll understand. Please understand that a lot of times I can't show the pictures or the books that I'm working from or the artwork that I'm working from or anything like that on my YouTube videos, because that's really, I don't want to really steal from other people's artwork or their photography or their videos, so on and so forth. So just please try to work from that painting that you see in the beginning of this video, or if you go all the way to the end, you'll see the finished painting. As we're finishing up, you'll see that finished painting that we do here at the end of the video, and you can use that too. You hit pause, and then you can work right from that. So I hope you'll kind of follow that type of structure with my videos. I know some other videos out there, YouTubers, other people on YouTube, they do things a little differently. They show their photographs or their paintings or, but for me, it's really, I need all of my picture frame here to show you the paints, my palette, and my actual painting itself. So I can't really start introducing other pictures within this because it's going to take away from the actual basics of the palette and the paper and the painting itself as I'm doing this. So please enjoy what I have here, and I know most of you are, but I know sometimes a few of you have a little bit of a question on that, but no big deal. Let's keep it fair to say that everyone has their own style of making their videos. This is my style, and I say once I'm done with this painting completely 100%, then you can just pause the video and work from that. Or you can screen capture it. You can take a picture of it off of a screen. So you could take my painting, hit pause, take a picture of it with your phone or your camera, and then you can print it out on your printer if you have a printer at home. I'm not a great person for technological stuff. I'm not great at computers and all that kind of stuff, but you can find different ways. You can go online and research things, or if you have somebody really good with computers in your family or something like that, hey, they can give you a lot of great advice on that. My focus is I like painting and drawing, so that's what I do. I do this well, and I don't really, I admit it, I'm not great with computers and all that kind of stuff, so let's just, I'll try to give you the best advice I can, and if you have questions, please leave them in the comment section. I'll try to, if I don't know the answer, I'll try to find it for you, or try to research it for you and then give you the best answer that I can come up with. So, okay, so now we're getting into this painting. It's gonna, you have that feel of like a bed and breakfast over in England. It's like an English type scene, beautiful Tudor type style buildings and old rustic streets with beautiful structures and buildings. So here I have started already, so with my sketch, so I made a nice little roof here and a wall and a bush. So that's to start off here on the left. And then there's going to be a slight space here that we're going to be able to see in the distance. And then here I'm just going to start lightly sketching some of the buildings that go forward here. Okay, that's pretty good. So I just established my foreground, my distance here. So this is my distance here. There's a road. There's some bushes here. Okay, and then there's some roofs here. Okay, so we have these buildings going up in the here. And there we go. We have a little bit of a gable end of a roof over here. And like this. And there's another gable over here, like that. And then there's a little bit of a roof over here. And then there's another wall over here. And there's a window over here. And there's a wall over here too. Stone wall. Like that. And over here we have some Tudor style design. And these are Tudor style. There's a window here. And there's some Tudor style planking, wood planking. And it goes all the way up here, like that. I'm just doing light sketches, like that. Okay, so this is basically the gist of it. And we have the roofs up here that are like that. And there's some lines here. These are the and then we can put a little bit of lines in the street. That's going to be some reflections of the timbers coming down into the streets. We have lots of interesting so you can see this is a really beautiful Tudor style. These are some bed and breakfast locations here in England. A beautiful road here leading off into the distance. Maybe we'll erase that line there so that we have a little more of a, like that. So that's going to be a distant road. And then here, there's a doorway. Let's put this in here, a little bit of a doorway. Like that. Like that. There's a doorway here. And then there's a lamp. So there's a little light in the front of this doorway here. So you have a little bit of a lamp. Nice wrought iron lamp here. And then here there's I think there's a wrought iron lamp right over here. And there's another one down here in the distance. So we want to try to capture that. A little wrought iron lamp down here. It's a little smaller there in the distance. And then we have some windows here on these buildings, but they're very, very minimal. They're very, very minimal, the windows and the doors. They're just tiny little lines. And I think that's good. All right, so you see here we have our sketch. And if you want to pause the video at this time and do this sketch for yourself, that's fine. This is actually, you know, a light pencil sketch, but you know, it is dark enough that you can see that, I hope. And anything close to this is going to be fine for you. You can kind of see here, if we get a scrap piece of paper, let me get a scrap piece of paper just to kind of give a general idea of what this looks like. So if I was to take this, and let's say you're saying to yourself, oh, Chris, we're out here, we're trying to follow along, but this is really difficult. It's really, we find it's too many details, or we can't see it that clearly. Not a problem. I'm going to take this and just basically kind of give you a general idea with a Sharpie of what I did here. So basically, if we have our rectangle, like so, the first thing I did is I started out over here with a building over here on the left with a little bit of a bush here. Then we left a space here, and then we just started with some bushes over here, and we just started making our buildings over here with our gable ends of our roofs, so our pointy gables like that. Like that, and then there's another bit of roof up there. Then we have our large gable here, another one over here, and then we have our first floor here, like that. And there's another roof coming out here. So as you can see, we're kind of, and then we're doing our timbers like this. And you can make it loose like this too. Don't go crazy trying to do every detail perfectly. You just know you have a window here. You have another window over here on that. These are the other roofs over here. These are the roofs up here. This is the gable end of the wall, like so, and another gable over here. And there you have it. You have your street kind of flowing this way. Some trees over here, and then we'll have a sky over here. And then you have a door over here. This is really close. This is the foreground right here. So you have your lamp. We make a little lamp here. And there's a couple lamps over here too. So you want to make a little bit of details, right? You know, a little bit of exciting details, a couple lamps here by the doors, over here by these. And the doors are nothing more than just little small straight plumb lines, straight up and down. So all these lines here are all straight, perfectly straight, all the way through your painting. You can, you know, you can make a few on angles if you want to make it a little more interesting. But for the most part, all your lines, your vertical lines, are all straight. This building here is a straight line this way. All these lines here, the separations between buildings are here. You have your roofs over here, like that. So you can come up with a little bit of a, you know, idea of what you have to do with your sketch like this. And I'm hoping you'll, you know, look at my finished sketch here. And if nothing else, you wait till I'm completely done painting everything, and then you draw and paint from the finished painting. That's the real key to this, is if you have a hard time seeing this pencil drawing, or if you have a little bit of, you're not quite happy with the way the pencil lines look here on this pencil drawing I did, no problem. You just wait till I'm completely done with the painting 100% after I've painted everything, and then you can just draw what you're seeing on my finished painting, and then paint over it, of course, with your painting, and you'll have it. So we're going to start in just a few minutes with the painting. I hope you're enjoying this. It's a fun time here. We're doing this beautiful English scene. It's cottages, some bed and breakfast cottages along this beautiful street scene. We're going to have some new brushes to use. So I want everyone to realize that you can change the whole look of your artwork by just changing your brushes. So if you introduce a couple new brushes to your artwork and maybe change your paper, maybe you just use a different paper than you normally use and a couple different brushes, you'll be surprised at how much excitement you can create with a new look to your paintings. Sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need that to spur you on to find some new techniques and new looks to your watercolor art to make it more exciting. I hope you really do you follow me on that? Please, everyone, if you understand what I'm saying, please say, uh-huh. Everyone say, uh-huh. Because sometimes when you're painting watercolors, you get bored after a couple years. You're painting and you're just like bored and say, I don't know, it's the same old thing every day. Try a new brush. Try some new paper. We're actually going to try these two new brushes here. You're going to see me in just a few minutes. We're going to we're going to work with a filbert brush like this, a filbert brush, beautiful brushes, and a sword liner brush, which has got a really, really fine point. So we're going to use a sword liner brush and a filbert brush to create this painting. And if you normally see me use round brushes and sometimes square brushes or flat brushes, well, these are two new brushes you can experiment with, and you might find that you can create some incredible artwork with just a couple new brushes in your regiment. So try it out. Maybe try a few new brushes and then just say, for the next 6 months, I'm going to do nothing but work when I'm painting with 2 new brushes. And if you stick with that idea, you really might be surprised. You'll come up with some really awesome artwork, some really beautiful paintings with that. So I'm encouraging you, always keep your mind open to trying new things. Don't get stuck in the same old pattern over and over. Try some new things, especially if you feel yourself getting bored or you're feeling like you're stagnant and you're not making progress. Sometimes trying a new brush or two and a little bit of new techniques, and you can really get yourself rolling again and excited about the way your art looks, the way your paintings are turning out. And let's come back in just a few minutes, and we'll try our new brushes with some new techniques here, for the most part, to create this wonderful painting. And you'll see, it's really going to be a lot of fun, and we'll have an exciting time. So be right back. Let me take a break, please. And we'll see you in just a second. And hey, if you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Here, subscribe over here on the right-hand side. Everybody, I know you always say, hey, Chris, you always, people complain I'm always mentioning subscribe. Hey, if you don't subscribe, you might lose me here. You might go back onto YouTube in a week or two and try to find me, and you don't know where I am. You forget my name. So if you subscribe right here on the right-hand side to that button on the right-hand side down below, subscribe, you'll definitely have all my videos coming into your YouTube channel, your own personal YouTube feed that you have. And this way you'll always see my new videos coming in week after week, week after week, month after month, and year after year. So you're plugged into my source here. We're the source for all watercolor, everything watercolor. Okay, we'll be right back, and we'll start out with in just a minute or two, some gorgeous watercolor paints with some new brushes and some new techniques for you to try out. Okay, be right back. All right, we're getting back started again, and right now we're going to do our lighting source. So with this painting, we have our sketch completed, and we always know that before we start our painting, we just want to take a pause for a second and say, where is our light coming from? Because once you start painting, you're going to maybe sometimes need to reference where your light is coming from when you're doing some shadows within your painting. Does that make sense? So basically, it's always good to have a little note on your paper somewhere, maybe on the tape up on top here. So I taped around the border of my paper. This is Arch's rough paper. So I'm going to put up here an insignia for our light, like this. And that insignia is basically showing me that the light is coming from up top, maybe a little bit from behind me, shining into the scene like this. So the light's coming into the scene like this, like that, from up high. Maybe it's in the afternoon and the sun is a little behind our backs. Let's say if we pretend we're standing here painting this scene, or sitting in our chair with our easel, or if we're sitting in our chair and we have our sketchbook in our lap and we're working and we're painting a scene, this light insignia up here is showing us that the light is coming slightly behind us from above, coming into the scene like this. So the shadows, if anything, are going to be going that way, forward this way in the painting, not coming towards us or to the sides of us. So you're not going to see too much shadows in this painting. The light's coming from behind us, shining onto this scene here that we're painting. Okay, so that's just that insignia there to show me that if that's a light, a spotlight, you can see I can't see the bulb, I can't see the inside of the bulb or the actual light fixture itself. I'm just seeing the outer light fixture. If the light was shining in our faces, we'd have this. We'd see the light bulb and we'd see that and we'd say, oh, okay, the light's coming from in front of us, coming towards us, shining in our faces, painting into the light. But here we're painting this way, which is the light's coming from behind us, shining on the scene. So that's the main idea of our light for this painting. I hope you'll see that it's important and valuable to put your light source insignia up on your tape on the border of your painting, or if you don't have any tape around your painting, you can just put a little small sketch somewhere on your paper, a little bit if you can. So the first thing, again, we're going to be using a couple new brushes, the filbert brush and the sword liner brush. And these are really fantastic brushes, and you can really create a whole new technique for your painting by using these. And they work a lot like the round brush, so you don't have to feel intimidated by trying a few new brushes. They're basically just a little different, and you just have to take a little time to get used to it, get the feel for it. Maybe you do some practice runs with it on some printer paper and kind of see how they react, how they feel when you load them up with paint and do some painting with them. But again, it's always good. Try some new brushes every now and again if you want. But if you really feel confident that you're just loving your round brushes, your watercolor round brushes, then you stick with those. But those of you that might want to try a new brush or two once in a while, this is just all I'm saying is you can come up with some really beautiful paintings using some different brushes like this. So the sword liner brush and the filbert brush. Okay, so I'm going to start out by doing the glazing technique here. We're going to do the glazing technique. We're going to do a light wash first over everything, and then we'll go over and we'll do our darker washes. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and get some sky color, cerulean blue, cobalt blue, Prussian blue, French ultramarine blue, just to get some burnt umber in there too, just to gray it down a little bit. Okay, so we have a little bit of light wash for the sky. And I'm going to also rinse my brush and maybe wet the paper a little bit. Just with some fresh, clean water. Fresh, clean water. Just a little bit on the paper. So I'm going to do some in the road here. So I'm going to add some really fresh, clean water on the road here, on the foreground. In the roofs over here, the sky over here. And then over here on the left, some in the roofs. I'm not going to do anything over here. This is going to be all white paper. And up here in the sky a little bit. And if you go over a few spots while you're adding your fresh, clean water, you can lift up some water with your tissue. And then now we're going to I'll put some more fresh, clean water here on the stonework down here. There's some stone walls over here and brick walls. Okay, so now we have our we're going to introduce some wash, some blue, cobalt blue, cerulean blue, Prussian blue, French ultramarine blue, a little bit of burnt umber to gray it up a little bit. Okay, and I'm using my filbert brush here. Just getting some nice washes on the, we're doing the glazing technique, don't forget. So you're doing some nice, beautiful light washes with light tonal value. We're not going with dark, any darks here, just light washes. This will be some brick over here, some darker washes. This is all white stucco over here. So we're going to leave that like that. And that's some white stucco over there. Okay, now a couple of maybe shadows here and there. In this too, this is brick and stone. So brick and stone is going to be over here with a little bit of that blue underpainting. So we want a little bit of blue underpainting here. That's some more there. That too. That's the windows. And I think that's good. Okay. That's good. So you can kind of see what I did here. I got in some cool washes. You might go in with some raw umber. Maybe add in a couple of bits of warm. You want warm and cool everywhere. So now that the paint is still wet, add in a little bit of cool, warm colors. So maybe I just touch in a little bit of raw sienna or some raw umber. Here we're going to lift up. We want to keep this white. That's white stucco. And there's some shadows here. And things are coming really beautiful, coming together beautiful. Here, some really gorgeous glazing technique, everybody. You notice when we do the glazing technique, the first wash is lighter, light tonal values. We're not going anything dark here, right? All these washes were very light, mostly the blues with a little bit of burnt umber in there to gray it down, and then over the top of that with a little bit of raw sienna or raw umber, just to get some, warm and cool. Blue, and then some golden brownish colors, and that's all you need for your first wash, just like that. Once you get that over the entire paper, now the key is you have to let this dry. No question about it. You cannot go back in now and start painting until this is 100% dry. So there's two things you can do at this point. Okay, is everyone all right? Everyone say you understand there's two things you have to do. Raise your hand. You can either, one, use a blow dryer to dry this all off so that you can continue to paint without taking a break, or if you're like me, I'm going to take a break, and you sit down and relax for a few minutes. So with that being said, if you don't want to take a break and you want to keep working because the suspense is just driving you crazy and you want to finish this painting, feel free. Get your blow dryer out, blow dry this whole thing until it's 100% dry, and then you continue painting, which is the next segment we're going to do in just a minute. Or if you don't mind, you sit and you wait for maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, and it should be about an hour it should dry for the most part, and then you can start painting again. But the first thing you want to do, if you're not going to blow dry it and you're going to wait about a half an hour to an hour, when you come back after an hour, half an hour to an hour, just touch the paper with your hand very lightly here and there in a few spots and look at it. And then you say to yourself, does this look like it's dry enough to start doing some more washes? And if you think yes, then you go for it and you start your next bit of washes. That's all. So blow dryer, you can't go wrong. But in any case, let's take a break, let this dry. Whatever you want to do, wait an hour or two or half an hour. It depends on how warm your working area is. If you're in your studio and it's really cool, it might take an hour or two. If it's kind of warm where your studio is, excuse me, you don't have to wait as long. Or if you use the blow dryer, you can start right away. All right, okay, be right back. All right, welcome everyone. We're getting back into the swing of things here. So we took our break and we said We're doing the glazing technique, of course, here in this painting. We just said that when we do our first glazing, which is our lighter glazing, right, we're doing our lighter tonal values across the whole painting. Here we're covering our painting with a warm and cool effect, which is mostly blue for the sky and the shadows coming into the painting, and on the roadway here and on some of the stonework, the more bluish tonal values, the basic blues with a little bit of burnt umber in there to gray down the blues. Then once we get that on, we add just a touch of raw umber to get ourselves a little bit of warmer effect in this painting. So you don't want to go all solid blue colors throughout your painting. You want to mix in some of those warm colors too. You want to have a modulation of warm and cool throughout your painting. Gives it much more excitement, more interest. If you're just to go with one color or two, let's say, that's not going to be as exciting as if you can add maybe 3 or 4 colors or 5 or 6, but subtly do it. Mostly you did see we use mostly the blue colors. Up here we use cerulean blue, cobalt, Prussian blue, and French ultramarine. And then once we got that going, and we did add some burnt umber to that to gray down a little, and then once we got our blue wash on there, then we went in and took a little bit of raw umber while it was still wet, plenty wet, and still, you know, nowhere near dry. It was just freshly painted. Then we went in and just fused in, added in just a little bit of raw umber to that bluish wash, just to give it that undulation of the blue and golden color of the wash, to give it some more interest. Again, we're creating artwork here. We're not trying to recreate reality, because you remember, you're never going to compete with reality. You know, a great artist once said, and I can't recall right now who it was, but they said you're never going to compete with reality, with nature. Nature is so beautiful on its own, you can't compete with it. So as an artist, your idea is to try to do some things, some exciting things on your canvas, on your painting, on your paper, that's going to try to make things really exciting, but you know you're not going to try to paint exactly what you see, because you're never going to attain that beauty and that real incredible beauty of nature as it is just in itself. So if that's kind of a little bit of a philosophy, it's really a great philosophy to have, is don't try to compete with nature and paint exactly what you're seeing out there. Try to come up with some different ideas and effects that are going to make things more exciting on your actual painting, versus trying to actually look out there and say, oh, exactly what color is that, exactly. All those things are good, you know, but as an artist, my idea is try to make things exciting, and don't try to copy nature exactly, because again, it's hard to do that. So we're better off trying to make a beautiful work of art, creating some ideas from our own techniques and ideas of painting and the watercolor techniques, and using all of the things we have here to our advantage. We have water, we have beautiful paints, we have water, we have pencil, we have watercolor paper, we have all this beautiful stuff here. We can create our artwork using all these resources as we have them. So we're not going to sit here and try to copy exactly what we see like off of a photograph, because that would kind of be boring. We can't compete with that. We can't compete with actual nature in itself, because it's too beautiful. But we try to do our best to come up with some alternative ideas, and that becomes artwork. All right, that's some philosophy here. Hope you're interested in that. And I'm just trying to give you some tidbits of philosophy here as I go, because that's what I'm thinking here as I'm going here. I'm saying I'm not trying to recreate what I see in this painting or this picture that I'm working from. I'm trying to actually just create some artwork here. So now the second wash, the second glazing, we're doing the glazing technique. This is completely dry. The second glazing, we're going to do our darker darks. So now we're going over with our darker tonal values. So what are we going to do next? Let's maybe do some roofs here. Now the roofs are warmer in color, some cadmium red, some burnt sienna, some burnt umber. So we're going to do some of the warmer colors, some alizarin crimson, raw umber. Then we go in and get some cool colors too, some blue, some cerulean blue. Okay, so you have a warm and cool everywhere. Burnt umber. Okay, and then you just get some of that going. And then we're going to do our roofs. Look at that. Oh, wow. Beautiful. Some Prussian blue too, and some cerulean blue. Let's do some. And here we're using our filbert brush. It's got a beautiful point on it. You can see that, right? So you can get some nice points on that. And then here what I'm doing is you can use different colors to make those separations so that you can kind of see where the one roof separates from the other. So I can take some more darker darks over here like that, and that gives us a little more separation between those two roofs. And again, there's the other roof here in the distance. Clay tile roofs. And then up here too, there's some more roofs up here. Let's see here now, we got this here. And then we can go up here like this, and then we're going to do some trim. There's some trim on these like so. And there's more trim over here too, and we can kind of stick with that same color. We're not kind of getting too worried about it. Over here we wanted to try to use some different colors to kind of, does that make sense? Over here you're trying to make some different colors, some different tonal values and different colors to separate the roofs here, so you can kind of see the roofs stepping back into the distance. These roofs here are further in the distance as we're going into the distance of the painting, so that gives us a little bit of distance in the painting, some three-dimensional feel. Then here up in this section we're okay, we can just use the same colors like that. And then there's some more stonework over here, so let's do that. And look at that, we're just using our filbert brush to get in our stone, like so. And there's some more over here. Okay, and you can use some different colors, maybe to make it a little different, differentiate the colors there. So this is more of a golden color here. That kind of gives us that separation between the two walls, like so. And then some French ultramarine blue, just to get some shadow in there, like that. And then some windows here. Let's do some window shapes. Look at that. Gorgeous. Okay, perfect. So you can see we are really moving along. We have oodles of details right now going, so you're happy with that, right? We have oodles of details, darks, we're doing darks now. And we're going to continue with our darks. And we have a great versatile part of the filbert brushes. Look at the point you can get with that really fine point there. You can get lots of fine details with this one, and then you can and then you can also get a lot of large washes done quickly. Okay, and then we're just going to get some vertical lines here. These are some of the, like that. So we're just trying to get in some more washes here. And this is a little darker, so we go with some Prussian blue, French ultramarine blue, burnt umber. Let's get some burnt umber in there. Darken that up a little. Okay, and then if you want, you can always take a little bit of tissue, dry off your brush a little bit with some tissue or a paper towel, just so you don't have too much paint on there. And you can get this other bit of dark over here. And we have another bit of, look at that, we can do everything with this filbert brush. Except for the trees and foliage. We need the, we'll need the sword liner for that. Okay, then we're going to go in and get some golden color here. There we go. And then we're going to do some and I'm going to do some watery kind of look there. Add some water to that. We'll do more of this later. We're going to get a kind of a wet feel for the roadway here. So we're going to pretend that it maybe just rained. So okay. And what else do we want to do here right now? Let's get over here. Let's get this. Let's get some more darks. French ultramarine blue, Prussian blue, burnt umber. We're just going to try to get ourselves a little bit of a roof line over there, like so, up top. And now we're going to start introducing some greens. Sap green, olive green, maybe a little bit of blue mixed in there, some cerulean blue. Just some green here for the bushes. And then maybe some green in here too. Since we're putting green in for our shrubs, let's get some green other places in the painting. Just a little bit. And that looks good. And what else do we have? We have another burnt umber, burnt sienna, French ultramarine blue, Prussian blue, burnt umber, burnt sienna maybe over here. Prussian blue. Let's get a window over here. There's a window over here. Let's do a window. Oh, look at that. Doesn't have to be perfect, right? Just get somewhat of a rectangle like that. Perfect, look at that. Maybe blot up a little bit on the bottom. Perfect, look at that, wow. Can you believe that? How simple that is? A little bit of, for a window. Like that. Now let's do some really, really dark darks. Prussian blue, French ultramarine blue, cobalt blue, burnt umber, burnt sienna. Again, making some really, really nice darks. Then also some golden color too. So we're going to have a darker dark up here, burnt umber, French ultramarine blue, Prussian blue, and then down here a little bit of the golden color. And then we'll do some of our Tudor planks that are on the walls here, and they don't have to be perfect. Just get them in there. They're better done quickly, like so. And then what I do is start them out dark up top like this, and then get some of that warmer raw sienna, raw umber, and do the bottoms of them like a little bit warmer and lighter, like that. That's all that you need to do. Perfect. Look at that. Oh, watercolor is so easy, right? It's not that difficult. And especially if you're changing your brushes. You're changing your brush to a filbert brush like this one. You can work everything with this brush here. You really don't need any other brush than the filbert brush for this painting. You could really do the whole thing with this. But you will see me use the sword liner next. After we work a little more, we're going to start using the sword liner to get in some more different foliage and things like that, and trees and stuff like that. But for the most part, your filbert brush is really going to give you a great look and freedom too. And I'm also holding my brush really high on the top here. You can see that. All right, so we're going to take a break now. We've done a lot of work. Let's take a break. We'll come back and we'll continue on. But I need a break right now, and I think my battery is running low on my cam here. So my camera is telling me time to change the battery. Okay, so we'll be right back in just a second. All right, we are back again. We're starting up again. We had some beautiful washes going here, some darker darks. So we're doing our second glazing right now. And as you can imagine, we're actually working with some new brushes this time. Here on my channel, most of the time you know that I really work with mostly round brushes. And but this time we're going to start expanding our horizons. We're going to try something new. We're going to do some new techniques and some new brushes with our watercolor techniques, and this can give you a new excitement about your watercolors. If you try a few new brushes, you can't imagine how much excitement you can create with your artwork. So many of you may have painted with just a few brushes. Maybe you're only painting with round brushes. If you try out a filbert brush here, I guarantee you will find new ways to create beautiful art with this, and maybe even create some art that's going to even look more exciting, and you'll be more pleased with your paintings, that how they turn out. It's I'm not sure, but there's thousands of you out there that are painting, and some of you may want to try a different brush, and that might give you something that you're going to it's going to spur you on to do some more creative ideas with your paintings. Okay, so it gives a real fresh, loose look to your paintings, that's for sure, because you're really going to, using a filbert brush, you're going to be able to choke up on your brush, and maybe you're not using it as close. You can use the brush any way you feel like you want to use it. Of course, your technique is all up to you, but I find that the filbert brush can really give you some beautiful techniques, as well as the sword liner brush. So we'll use both of these. This is a larger sword liner brush here, so you can kind of see what that looks like. And we're going to continue on here. So we did get some of our Tudor planks in here, and now we're kind of just continuing on in our painting here. I see that I have another window here, so I'm going to put in some, this is a window here. I want to get that in, and this window up here we have, that's good. And that might have a little bit of a different look up here. This is that's some stucco up here, maybe some stucco, some reddish orange stucco. Let's see how that looks. That looks good. That's a little different. And then maybe we'll put a little bit of maybe some There's a little bit of a shadow there, up here. You can always take your tissue and blot up some paint if you want. I'm trying to get that little bit of a shadow look created here for these eaves of this roof, like that. The light's coming from up top, shining down this way, but it does throw a little bit of a shadow there, so I want to get that. And over here too as well, so let's get some shadows over here. And then over here, again, we're going to start green and blue to give ourselves a little bit of a cooler effect here. Now, things are going into the distance over here. So as things get cooler, let's make our washes cooler. So here we have some bushes over here and shrubs. And those are bluish green. Okay, and those are some orangey yellow stucco walls over here. Those are a little different than over here. So now we leave those as is. White stucco. Some yellow stucco over here. Like that. Then over here we have just regular white stucco. And then we'll take our burnt umber, French ultramarine blue, and we'll try to make our dark darks over here, and then we'll do some more like that. Some trim. There's some trim, and there's some more trim in the road here. And we'll try to get those bushes down here like so. And we're going to try to make that little bit of a kind of a feel like the road is kind of wet there. Maybe it just rained. Perfect. Look at that. Okay. Now, this here is a doorway. Let's get a little bit of a doorway there, like so. A little bit of a shadow in that doorway where the door is. And there's a little bit of a shadow up here, like so. And I think we're getting there. This is pretty good. Let's do a few chimney pots up here. So we're going to have some burnt umber, burnt sienna, some Prussian blue, and then we're going to have some chimney pots up here, and then maybe another one here. So we're going to have some chimney pots up here. Okay, so we have that there. Maybe another one over here. And we're just going to do some chimneys up top on these roof lines. And the next thing we can do is just add a little bit of, we'll take our filbert brush and we're going to add a little bit of, greens. Let's do some greens here. You can mix that all in with your greens, all those reds and browns. And then we're just going to do a little bit of there's some trees over here, like that. Okay, so there's a little bit of bits of trees over here, some over here too. And then more over here, so let's do some burnt sienna. And here we're just using the filbert brush, the sword liner brush, to do some very loose feeling leaves and foliage, like that, as well as some down here. So we're just going to do some like that, just to get that feel of some trees and bushes and plants a little bit. And then I'm going to do some just like that, a little bit of extra interest in the painting. If you have some plants, and then we just use our sword liner for that, and you can really get some beautiful and you can also do your lighting fixtures with some of your sword liner. And there's some more over here, so we're going to do now over here. It's a little bit wet, the paint, so you would want to let that dry and then come back. You'd want to come back over that later to do a couple light fixtures if you want, just to give it a little more pizzazz. But this is pretty good. And then you can come up here and add some more darks there with your sword liner. So your sword liner you can use for added details. And if it's too wet to work on, blot it up and let it dry. Don't keep trying to. So this is better off we let this dry over here, because there's some wet washes here and there. Let things dry and you'll be way better off. So we have our doorway on the left here in this wall. Some foliage over here on the left. You can do some trees going up here, so you want to like that. And I'll put a little bit of a dark here, under here for the window. Like that. And then a couple lines like that, running parallel. Like that, to give it a feel of wetness, like there's some rain on the road here. Maybe it just rained. We had a little bit of a rain shower. And, you know, you can really enhance your painting by doing a couple of those little effects like that. And that is really it. So I hope you had a fun time with this. And again, we're going to finish up a little bit. We're going to do a little more touch-ups here. I'm going to finish this window over here once it dries. This is really, the paper is really wet up here on the right-hand side. So if you have to, you take some paper towel or some tissue and you blot up, dry it up, let it dry 100%, and then you go back and finish up your window up here. But you don't want to make it too, you know, you don't want to make a really fancy or exciting window over here. You just want to keep it very subtle so that you don't have like all the attention over here on this really fancy window that you made over here. You kind of just want the whole painting to look pretty much like everything is the star of the painting here, and there's no one thing that's actually looking so great that you have to look at it. So it's almost like you're going to come in to this scene, look at the scene, and everything kind of just has a really nice balanced look. Nothing's too exciting in one area. Everything's kind of just really flowing beautifully and looking good throughout the whole painting. So I hope you'll enjoy this, and we'll be right back actually. So we're going to finish up this window over here when we come back, but we have to let this dry. So again, take breaks, let things dry. And I always mention too, if you like this video and if you're happy with our watercolor tutorials here on my channel, all you have to do is just go onto the bottom right hand side of your screen and click on the subscribe button, and this way you'll always be getting our new videos. And we're doing videos just like this every week or so. We're doing landscapes, we're doing cityscapes like this, and beautiful cottage scenes. We're doing you know, ocean scenes, cityscapes. We're doing figure painting, flowers, still life paintings, you name it. We do everything here watercolor, so get excited. We'll continue to bring great content to you. And if you stay tuned and you're also subscribed, you won't miss a thing. Okay, all right, so we're going to come back up and finish the last 5 minutes or 10 minutes of details on this painting, and we'll be all completed, and then we'll kind of be finished, and we can also just cover what we did and just do a little recap, and then we'll be done. Okay, so let's be, come right back in just a second or two. All right, so we are back, and we're going to finish up this painting. We kind of have everything really, looking fantastic. It's a painting here. We did a beautiful, like, bed and breakfast type scene with lots of interesting details and some beautiful Tudor style structures here. And so we'll just maybe go in with our beautiful sword liner brush, and we'll pick up some darks, and we'll get some windows over here. So we just want to kind of get the rest of the details here a little bit. We'll do a couple of light fixtures. We said we were going to do some light fixtures here. Now that the paper is dry, I let this dry 100%. Everybody, please always remember, when you're doing glazing technique, you have to let each of your glazings dry 100% of the way. So if you're trying to work on damp or wet paper, it's not going to work for you. So always please remember that. Does that make sense? Please, if you can hear what I'm saying, please say, uh-huh. Give me an uh-huh. Uh-huh. You got to let the glazings dry so that you don't lose control of your washes. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm making sure that this is all dry now so I can do my lamps here. So I'm doing my lamps at the first floor areas. So these are the doorways of the first floor. And I'm doing some darks there, and there's some lamps that are on the wall. Like that. And then we have this lamp completed. Now, I think the only thing we had to do was we wanted to get a little more detail up here in this window. And we said we didn't want to go too much detail because we don't want to sort of like draw too much attention up here on this window. So we'll just do a couple of window panes like that. And that should be good. That's fine. Maybe a little darker up here. Make a little darker accent here, like that. Underneath here for the shadow. And then maybe one under here too for this sash there. And that should be good. And then another one here, maybe two, for that windowsill. Okay, so that's good. We have that completed. Now we can also go in and we'll grab a little bit of white, titanium white. I always say, if you can, use a little titanium white with some yellow ochre or raw sienna. So I'll go in and I'll get some titanium white with a little raw sienna or yellow ochre. Yellow ochre works a little better, I think. And this is just where you can add a couple little, you can do a couple accent bits of color. Same thing here. So we're going to do a couple there. Maybe even here too. Up here. There we go. And then maybe here too as well. A little bit of there. Like that. And that will give you a really nice couple of little interesting looking details in your painting. And then maybe too, even a couple of highlights up here on the top for our chimneys. Maybe a little bit on the tops of the chimneys. A couple little bits of light. So there's some bits of light up there. And then there's also on the tops of the chimneys there. On the stonework on the top of the chimneys. And same up here. So you just do these couple little tiny bits of light. And that really kind of helps to sometimes give your painting just a little bit of an extra bit of interesting light sparkles. So you want some sparkles of light. You can also tap on some splashes of light, a couple little splashes of light. Maybe here across that roof, like that. You can do a couple here and there, like that. But not too many, just a few, like that. So if you do a few little bits of this light like that, not too many, you're going to find that it's just enough to give it a little bit of excitement. Like that. Okay, perfect. Look at that. And another little bit here, up top on this rooftop up here. Like that. And I think we have it. So we will call this a finished painting, except for your signature. You're going to want to sign your painting here somewhere on the bottom. Looks better, I think, on the bottom of the painting. So you can do that in a color that you've used already. So if you're going to sign your painting, you're usually going to want to sign your painting with a color that's you've already used. You might, if you want to really give it a real bit of pop to your color, you can make it more of the like reddish color. If you want to keep your signature a little bit subdued, you can use more of the greenish blue color, more of the darker darks like over here that we used, some of those darker darks there. So you can add your signature very carefully. Once you're done, let it dry 100% of the complete, your whole painting. Then when you do your signature, you take your time, you be very careful. But the most thing is you always want to do your signature on your paintings. If you're thinking you're going to put this into a show or a gallery, or you're going to give this as a gift to somebody and you want to have your signature on there, you have to buy your mat first. So don't forget, you have to consider framing first when you do your signatures on your paintings. So you want to get your mat first, put your mat over the top of your painting and then make sure your signature is going to be visible. You would not want to put your signature on your painting first and then find out when you put a mat on top of it to frame it and it's covering over half of your signature or all of it. But if it covers only half of your signature, you can see how that can be a problem. So you always want to wait till you're going to be ready to frame your painting with your mat and your frame before you sign your painting and put your signature on it. So that's just a little key tidbit of information if you're going to take a painting like this and put it into a show, or you're going to give it as a gift or whatever. But let's call this one a finished painting. So glad you came along here to join us and paint along with us. We're going to do lots more paintings just like this on this channel, so please keep coming back. And again, subscribe. Please feel free to subscribe right there on the right-hand side on the bottom of the screen here. This way you're always going to be getting our new videos each week as we create new watercolor videos. Everything is watercolor here, so we're doing everything in the watercolor medium, whether we're doing streetscapes like this, we're doing sometimes flower paintings, we're doing seascape paintings, beach scenes, boats, figure painting, whatever it is, it's all watercolor, water-based media, and you know, we're having a great time here, so please continue to have a great time with us as we have fun here, and we'll see you on the next video, everyone. Take care. We'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.